Tua is making a regression. He's not looking like the confident Tua. If that first read's not there, there's a panic on this offense. And I don't know why it's happening year 4 still.
That dude can do literally anything he wants. So definitely different skill set for me. I can't do half of what he does when it comes to running the ball and any of that.
Through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, we've learned a lot about the way the next 4 months are going to go. But I don't think there's a bigger indicator for the rest of the 2025 season than the play of Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. For years, Tua has been easily the most confusing quarterback in the entire NFL. It's been nearly impossible to tell whether he's among the better quarterbacks in football or if he's to a point where he's completely replaceable, but I think he's finally given us our answer this season. So real quick before we get to the content, I want to give a brief word to our sponsor. If you join my Discord group from the WAP link in the description down below, or you follow my Instagram stories, then you made a lot of money through Monday Night Football. I myself made $675 and PrizePicks still has that Travis Kelce free square. Bear in mind, we're currently 3 for 3 on free squares this year, and I'm going to give you my picks for Thursday Night Football in a second. First, to take advantage of this free square promo, use my promo code Mikerophone when you sign up for PrizePicks to get $50 in lineups when you make a play of $5 or more. And then, bro, take these picks, trust me, because on Thursday Night Football, the Miami Dolphins, who are the 7th worst defense in stopping the run, take on the Buffalo Bills, who are the 2nd worst defense in stopping the run. So to take advantage of this, and to take advantage of the fact that PrizePicks lets you pick the same player for 2 different categories, I'm going with Devon Achane to get a touchdown and to rush for 55 yards at least. And at the same time, I have James Cook repeating his incredible week 2 performance, getting at least 67 rushing yards and a rushing or receiving touchdown as well. Now remember, I post pics onto my Instagram story, and I have a dedicated Discord server that is locked in on making sure you get the best plays each and every week. They've been profiting each and every week. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description down below. And thank you, PrizePicks, for today's sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins have had arguably the worst possible start to their 2025 season, and let me tell you why. Going into week 1, I think the goal for Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins was to come out hot and give them some early momentum to try and sneak into the playoffs, especially considering how weak the AFC East is outside of the Josh Allen-led Buffalo Bills. But I think it's safe to say that Miami's playoff hopes were dead just 1 game into the season. In week 1 against an Indianapolis Colts team that had 0 expectations after Daniel Jones was named the starting quarterback, Miami got absolutely manhandled with a final score of 33-8. Now granted, Miami's defense didn't do its best at stopping Jones, but there was a much bigger problem. You see, historically, Miami was known for their high-octane, speedy offense that was coached by the offensive mastermind, Mike McDaniel. And honestly, I think we could say each and every year, you can see the effect that Miami is having on their head coach. Mike McDaniel's extracurricular activities might be catching up to him. Miami's offense only scored 8 measly points. Tua finished this game with 114 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions, showing some serious signs of regression and becoming the laughingstock of the league for a week. Now, the next week, however, Miami's offense looked a lot better. In what would eventually be a loss to the New England Patriots, Miami did put up 27 points and looked a lot more promising than they did in week 1. Tua also threw for 315 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception on really solid efficiency in what was a really big bounce back week for him on paper. But unfortunately for Tua, and unfortunately for the Miami Dolphins, football is way more than just reading numbers on a stat sheet. Despite putting up solid numbers in his 2nd start of the year, Tua didn't look much better than he did against Indianapolis on film, which should be a huge concern among the Miami Dolphins organization and its fan base, regardless of what Tua himself has to say.
I would say there's alerts going on right now. With, man, the season's over. I think the alerts are more on, like, dude, what are we doing that we've done all these other years to start fast, to help us get to where we want to go?
Now I'm going to show you some film from Miami's game against New England to show you exactly why Tua's performance on paper doesn't tell the whole story. It actually shows a completely opposite narrative. I want you to bear in mind that Tua was facing a newly rebuilt New England Patriots defense without its best player, Christian Gonzalez. And funny enough, the first play I'm going to show you in this video is a play that didn't even count. And if it did, Tua's counting stats would look a lot worse, and the outcome of the game may have been completely flipped. Early in the first quarter, Miami was in a a 3rd and 5 situation on their own 30-yard line, looking to answer back after Drake May and the New England Patriots offense took the lead. Lining up in the shotgun with trips to his right and just a slot receiver to Tua's left, there was a lot of room to work with, considering they were on the left hash and the trips receivers would most likely be running their routes that way. Before the snap, Devon Achane motions to the left out of the backfield, and this play gets underway. The first thing I want you to notice about this play is how unbelievably clean this pocket is. Tua had all day to throw the ball on this play, so you can't blame this on a lack of protection. The next thing I want to point out is the route concept on the field. New England runs a simple cover 2 on this play, so this concept works pretty well. Achane sits in the backfield as a check down, while the slot receiver on that side of the field, Jalen Waddle, runs a curl, creating a decision for the flat corner to make. Then on the other side of the field, tight end Julian Hill runs a short in. Tyreek Hill runs an interesting variation of a dig from the slot position where he makes a late cut due to Marcus Jones taking away the inside. And second-year wideout Malik Washington runs the most random route possible with 3 cuts to distract the defense as much as possible, because the main read is on the levels concept created by Hill's route in the middle of the field. However, this doesn't work for 2 reasons. One, Tyreek took way too long to cut, taking away the need for a decision from a zone defender in the middle of the field. And 2, Jalen Waddle starts to cut towards the traffic once Tua doesn't look his way on the curl. Tua's development on this play is simple. He looks down Julian Hill as his first read, and then moves his eyes over to Tyreek once he doesn't like what he sees. The thing is though, since Tyreek took so long to make his cut, that route hadn't developed by the time Tua made his way over to his second read. Still, and this is where this becomes Tua's fault, Tua decides to stare down Tyreek and force the throw, despite it not being there whatsoever. And to make things even worse, Tyreek started cutting up the field right before Tua started his throwing motion, leaving Patriots safety Jalen Hawkins alone in the middle of the field for the easiest pick of his life. Now, this play came back due to a defensive penalty, but this could have been a crucial mistake from Tua and Tyreek both. Tyreek completely messed up Tua's progression, but the fact that Tua was so dead set on throwing Tyreek Hill the ball turned this from what would have been a negative play to an absolutely detrimental play. Tua even said himself that he's force-feeding Tyreek Hill, saying to the media, "We need a spark from the offense, and Reek, I'm coming to you. No matter what they do, you've got to make it right." That's not a good look. Funny enough, the next play I'm going to show you is a play that looks great on paper for both Tua and Tyreek, but was 100% curated by the latter. On the first drive of the second half, Miami looked to come out with a swing after being down at the break, but on 3rd and 13, the chances of that happening were slim. That is, until this happened. Despite having 2 wide open checkdowns to his right that most likely would have gotten Miami the first down, Tua decides to launch this ball deep to Tyreek Hill. He lets this ball go at his own 18-yard line, and once the camera pans, you see just how open Tyreek Hill is and just how much space he's created downfield from the 2 New England Patriots defenders nearby. However, this moonshot from Tua just completely dies in the air, forcing what should have been a jump ball, and most likely a New England Patriots interception considering the height difference between Hill and the defenders. Instead, Patriots cornerback Alex Austin completely overplays this, simply running by the ball in an attempt to make a play instead of tracking the ball and realizing that it went about 10 yards shorter than he expected it to. On top of that, Jalen Hawkins just gives up on the play for absolutely no reason, allowing Tyreek to come back to the ball and make a catch, resulting in a 47-yard completion, which is by far the longest play he's had in over a year. This ball was caught at the New England Patriots 30-yard line, making this a 52-yard throw in the air for Tua, which is 1 yard short of his career high for air yards in a single play. But that doesn't make this a good thing. This ball should have resulted in a turnover, and if Christian Gonzalez was playing, it most certainly would have been a turnover. And the fact that this is almost Tua's longest completion in the air in his career proves just how much of a noodle arm he truly has.
Having some talks with Reek and whatnot, that if I do, just don't think that I'm gonna throw it 80 yards. Like, as you're running, just do your best to track it, because you could potentially stop.
I mean, it's nothing against Tua, he's just not that type of quarterback. Tyreek Hill has always succeeded with quarterbacks that had rockets for arms. Well, primarily Patrick Mahomes. I mean, take a look at Justin Herbert, for example. Miami passed on Herbert in the 2020 draft for Tua, and this is what they're missing out on. This would have been perfect with Tyreek Hill. The longest completion in the air for Justin Herbert in his career is 63.8 yards. That's over a 10-yard difference. Even guys like Daniel Jones, who beat Tua's Dolphins to a pulp in week 1 are able to sling the rock 60 plus yards down the field. The fact that this is as far as Tua can throw at maximum effort is a genuine concern for his future, and a genuine concern for Tyreek Hill's future as well, because that's where his bread and butter is. At this point though, the deep ball may be the least of Tua's concerns right now, and you'll see why with this play. Late in the fourth quarter, on 4th and 9 at midfield with the game on the line, Tua needed to make a play. After Devon Achane motioned out to the right side of the line, Tua was left in an empty backfield, and the ball was completely in his hands. The ball gets snapped, and all but one of his receivers start running downfield. The tight end Julian Hill stays back to help left tackle Patrick Paul block, and you'll see why this is so important in just a sec. Tua drops back, looking to his right, and from the looks of it, none of his wide receivers were open. To Tua's credit, he feels his rookie right tackle completely lose control of Harold Landry, and he steps up in the pocket to avoid a game-ending sack. As soon as he steps up, Julian Hill hands K'Lavon Chaisson off to Patrick Paul and breaks out from his check and release. Absolutely nobody's even in the vicinity of Hill when he breaks out, and if Tua were to find him here, he would have had the easiest first down of his life, plus more. Instead, Tua doesn't even bother looking away from the middle of the field and forces a throw into 3 receivers worth of traffic, getting the ball picked off before it even gets to his target by Marte Mapu, to all but hand the Patriots the game. Tua did absolutely everything right on this play up until the point where he let go of the ball. Nothing that happens before the throw matters if that's the throw you make, especially with a wide open check down to your left to extend the game and give your desperate team a fighting chance. This team is absolutely cooked if Tua can't get his stuff together. It doesn't matter how many completions you have or how many yards you have if it all falls apart when it matters the most. It's really starting to seem like Miami paid this man $212 million to be the downfall of their franchise, and that's a damn shame. Miami hasn't had a franchise quarterback since the days of Dan Marino 40 years ago, and despite Tua looking like the guy for the past few years, he's made it painfully obvious this year that he can't and won't live up to that. Even Tyreek Hill knows it. There has been a clear regression from the former 5th overall pick, and I genuinely believe that barring a Miami miracle, it may be for good. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.